All right, Martin Scorsese's new film, Killers of the Flower Moon, has finally hit theaters. It has been anticipated for many throughout this entire year. So let's talk about my thoughts on the film right now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Tyson. We're here to talk about movies. That's right, we do movie reviews, movie trailer reactions. We cover major movie news on our Minute podcast. We do movie rankings as well as Oscar Mondays. We try to do it all here on the channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, please check us out and subscribe. We are on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys along for that journey. All right, with that done and out of the way, let's just get into it. The new Killers of the Flower Moon is finally here. I've been anticipating this film as well. Not as much as most, actually. Um, but I finally saw it, and, it was good. Um, but it wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't, it's a 3.5 hour movie. And, the length of a movie, when you see a length like that, you kind of are like, oh my gosh, why is it this long? And a runtime, it's specific to the certain movie. So just because the movie is 3 hours, you shouldn't walk into it with a negative feeling. Maybe that length is right for that movie. Walking out of this one, unfortunately, I do think it's too long. I think it drags on, and I think it makes the story a little bit bland when you go to see it because of this 3.5 hour length. I wanted to start off with that right away because I think to everybody that kind of stands out. That 3.5 hour length, and I definitely think it could have been shortened down. I definitely think it drags out in parts, and there are frankly some parts in here that I think they rush a little too much. And it's weird for me to say they rush something in a 3.5 hour movie, but that's just how I feel. And I don't want to get into specifics because yes, this is based off a true story, but I don't want to spoil what they put in the film. However, let's talk about these performances here and who they have in it. And actually, let's talk about the story first, in case you don't know it. So, this, of course, is based on a true story about the Osage people and the suffering that they are having because of, well, white men and who are coming to basically want to take over their land, but most importantly, take over their money that they have because there is so much oil on the land that the Osage control. And, well, they want to do anything in their power that they can to take that away from them and put that money into their pockets. It's a very sad story, and like Scorsese said, it's not one that many people know, and it's very important to get the word out. And that is where the best part of this movie comes. It is in the Osage people and their culture. It is by far the best thing in here. It is the thing that made me the most excited to look up after this movie. I wanted to look up the true story. I wanted to look up more details, and I especially wanted to look up more about the Osage people in general. And I'm very happy that this movie was put out because I think a lot of people will have that same reaction, and I think it's very important for you guys to do that as well, because I'm sure this story is only a little part in their entire story. This is only a little chapter. So yeah, it's going to be a very cool thing for me to look up over the next few couple of days. So definitely the best part in here, Osage people. Now the cast is, they're great. It's Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, and Robert De Niro. Those are the main three players in here. They all give brilliant performances. Lily Gladstone is a standout. She is very subtle in her performance, but it's one that stays with you because of the emotion that gets poured out in this movie, especially through her character. This is where I actually disagree with some people who said that Lily Gladstone was the heart of this movie. I wanted that to be true. I really did. Walking out of this movie, I still feel like it was centered mostly around Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and I kind of wanted it to be centered around Lily Gladstone's character of Molly. I really did. And I would have liked if this story was actually told from her perspective. Instead, it's told from the perspective mostly of Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro's characters. And I wish they would have done Lily Gladstone so we could have really had it from the Osage perspective. I think that would have been unique. Scorsese did not go that route here. So that leads me to some of the problems with the film, where, yes, I think it was too long. I think it dragged out. I think the story of the Osage people was really good. You could tell he really cared. Scorsese really did care about this message. He wanted to convey it. He wanted to let everybody know how important it was, not only to him, but how important it really should be to us in today's times. I really did feel that. Especially in the end, I don't want to say why, but if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. I really felt that he cared with how he ended the film. All right, with that being said, back to the Osage people. I wish that it was from their perspective, and I wish some of their storylines weren't rushed. For example, Molly has a lot of sisters in this movie, and I felt like they were just kind of rushed along quick. And I feel like we only got quick introductions to them um, before some of their stories just went away, and we didn't really hear from them anymore. And I wish we got more time with them instead of, some more time with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. While I feel like all the performances were good, I don't feel like any will really translate into Oscar wins. But I'll talk about that more at the end of the video. I just wanted to put that out there right now. I do feel like you really get a good sense of the greed, though, in this town, and the greed from De Niro's character specifically. He is definitely trying anything he can to take advantage of those Osage people, and you can definitely see why he is a crook, and it's just sickening, really. And so is DiCaprio in a way, because he's also complicit. Um, I mean, that dynamic I think was played out good in the beginning, in the first half of this movie, or the first act of this movie. I would say it's a little confusing at times. To First of all, the dialogue for me was a little difficult to hear when they were kind of breaking down how they wanted to take advantage of these people. And then I thought it was a little confusing to figure out kind of which side they were on and where they were planning to go. I didn't think that was executed well about their reasons why they wanted to take advantage of these people, why they wanted to infiltrate their families. I wish that was a little cleaned up. I would say the first two acts of this film are the parts that drag out the most and are the parts that feel very slow. Within the first 20 minutes, I thought that this was going to just be kind of a bland out, drawn out story for 3.5 hours. Now, it did start to pick up and I started to get interested in it, but ultimately, it was the third act that really saved this film for me. I thought the third act, we get more of the Jesse Plemons character, who I think Jesse Plemons in this one is fantastic. I love the storyline that they tend to go when the FBI gets involved here in this town. I love the way that they portrayed Washington, D.C. in here as well. I think that was a great job, having the Osage have to go to D.C. Very cool to see that. I thought that was so I would say from that moment to the end of the film, great. I really did enjoy this third act of the film, and it was definitely the best act, in my opinion. With that being said, the first two, they were a letdown for me. And overall, guys, this movie, it was a letdown for me. I really wanted to like this one way more than I did, and I was very excited to see this film. Ultimately, I came out of it almost with more negatives than positives, which is awful. I hate that I have to say that, and I know that I'm going to be in the minority. If you love this film, hats off to you. I'm so happy you did. I wish I could be there with you. Unfortunately, this one just didn't really work for me as a whole, and that's why my score, it's going to be pretty low for Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm going to have to score it a 5 out of 10. This is not a film I would go back and rewatch. Again, this third act is, I really do enjoy this third act of the film. I think this is where the best parts are, the best performances as well from each of these three amazing actors. Jesse Plemons is also great in here. Don't forget about him. I think he's fantastic, and so is the little I don't know 10. I mean, it's more than 10 seconds, but it felt like 10 seconds in this movie, which is when we see Brendan Fraser, last year's Best Actor winner. I'm so happy about that. But yeah, I loved seeing him in this one as well. The performances were great, but I feel like the technical achievements is where this film is going to shine. I really did love the cinematography. I love the costumes. I love the way that it was edited. And I love the score in here as well. It was fantastic. But ultimately, the text and the third act set aside, I didn't have as great of a time as I wanted to with this film, which is why I have to give it a 5 out of 10. So, with that being said, guys, Oscar chances. I I agree with my statement earlier that this is going to be like The Irishman, where it gets a lot of nominations, but it does not translate into any wins. I don't see any wins for this one at this point. Costumes, I think that's Barbie. Production design in here, I think could be Barbie or Poor Things. Music, score, that's not going to go to Killers. It's probably going to go to Oppenheimer. And I mean, actor, I would say the only chance it has, I think it's going to get nominated for DiCaprio and Leonardo, or DiCaprio, that's the same person. DiCaprio and De Niro, I think, are going to get nominated. I think Gladstone has the best shot out of them to win. But I think hers, um, not that this is how the Academy should be, but this is how it is. The subtle performances tend to be nominated, but then forgotten because it goes to the more showy, upbeat performance, which isn't always the worst thing because sometimes that's the best one. But ultimately, here, I think it's just too subtle for Lily Gladstone to pull out the win. So, yeah. All right. So, that's going to do it for me here, guys. Until the next video, catch me then. We are on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys along for that journey. If you guys like this sort of entertainment content and you know of anybody who would like this entertainment content, please feel free to share our channel with them, as I am hoping to grow to 1,000 subscribers here soon. And we just passed the 400 subscriber mark, and I really do appreciate your guys' support along this journey that I've taken since the beginning of the year. So, all right, guys, until the next one, my name is Tyson, and I'll catch you then.